Hey guys, it's QBricks and welcome back to another video. So today we're doing another speed building review, and we've got a set I've been looking forward to building for a long time. So I'll be right back to show you what we got. This right here is the new Dungeons & Dragons Lego set, and this thing is huge. And this thing just looks so cool, so you can probably tell why I'm excited to build it. But before we open it up, there's still one thing we gotta do, and that's check out the box. So on the front we can see the dragon, the castle, and the piece count. On the back we see the backside of the castle and some of the play features. And on the top we have our minifigures. And this set only has 5 minifigures, but it has a bunch of cool custom monsters. But now that you've seen the box, I think we can finally open it. And make sure to remember that when you're opening your Lego boxes, to always use caution. And I think I'm going to open it along the bottom, because this part of the box got a little messed up in shipping. Alright, we got it open, so let's see what's inside. So it looks like on top of the box we had a bunch of bags, but if we keep emptying it out, we can see there's a box in the box. And I think that's everything, so we can put this to the side. Alright, well now let's see what we got in this box. So in here we got more bags. And one of these cave pieces. We also have this paper bag, so I'm going to open it up. And in here we got a cape, and both of the dragon's wings. So I'm going to put them both back in the bag, and see what's in here. So in here we got our stickers, and we've got 4 different instruction books. And I gotta say that I love the art on these books. But let's also put these to the side and start sorting out all of the bags. Unfortunately, Lego didn't have them sorted at all, but hopefully I can get it done quick. Alright, so I got them all sorted on the floor, so now it's finally time to move this desk back against the wall, and we can start building this thing. So we got the camera and the desk all set up now, so it's finally time to start the build with bag number 1. So here's our first minifigure, but now it's time to finally move on to the real build. Alright, so we finished bag 1, and even though it's not much, I still think it's looking pretty good. This minifigure is really cool, and I also really like the diagonal door piece. But we've only just started, so now let's move on to bag number 2. Alright, so on bag 2 we got another minifigure, and she's even got a custom book. Alright, so bag 2 is done, and we basically just added a bunch more details. I really like the sign for the inn, and all the details inside. But now it's time for bag 3, and we're gonna start off by building this guy. Alright, so you finished bag 3, and the coolest part is definitely this bed that's a mimic. So now it's finally time for bag number 4. So now we got bag 4 done, and I think it's looking great. I really like this design for the roof, and also this other mimic chest. And when we put it on this, you can see the buildings start to come together. But we're making some good progress, so let's move on to our next minifigure. Alright, so we finished bag 5, and that means we're done with the first book. But I think the start of this build is looking awesome, and I really like the look of this inn. The bottom just looks so nice, but the top is probably somewhere I wouldn't want to stay. And so far I'm having a bunch of fun with this, but let's move on to the second book. Alright, pause, I want to tell you about my sweatshirt. This right here is the New World UFO hoodie, and this is one of my favorite sweatshirts. It's super comfy, and you can always see me wearing it. And the brand New World actually just dropped a new collection with some designs that look like this. And if you act fast, you can get 20% off the whole new collection with code QBricks. So if you think they look good or just need some new clothes, I'm going to leave the link down below in the comments. But I think that's enough said, so let's get back to the video. Alright, so now we got book number 2, so let's go get bag 6 and a bunch of extra pieces. Alright, so bag 6 is done, and all we really did was make a base plate. But I really like the colors used, and I'm excited to see what it turns into. But with that said, let's get bag 7 and the cave piece. Alright, so we finished bag 7, and that one added a bunch of progress. I really like the dungeon we're making, but we've still got a ways to go, so let's keep building. So bag 8 is done, and we just added a bunch more exterior details. As you can see, we got a spooky sticker in here, plus a door and a ladder to the dungeon. But it's time to start on the castle part, so let's get out bag number 9. Alright, we got bag 9 done, and I really like the start of the castle. These details look really cool. There's a really cool shield, and a minifig inside. But let's make this thing bigger and get bag number 10. Alright, so that's bag 10, and so far I think it's the coolest bag. I really like these shields here, and the diagonal bridge was really fun to build. But now it's time for bag 11, and this one seems small. So here's how it's looking, and I think that bag added a bunch of details. We have a bunch more foliage like these trees, and a couple of spiders running around. But I think we're about to finish this section of the build, so let's get it done. Alright, so we finished bag 12, and I think this part looks complete. My favorite addition is either the flags or the tree. But now let's add it onto this part and see how it looks. So we got them together, and I think it looks super cool. They just connect so well, and I really love all of these colors. And I love the sea monster popping out on the side. But now it's time for bag 13, and we're going to start off with a couple of these mushrooms. So I think that was actually the smallest bag because all we made was this thing. This right here is the owl bear, and I gotta say he ended up being pretty cute. I also think it's pretty impressive how detailed he is for such a small model. But he's gonna stay there, and now it's actually time for our next book. So here we got it, so let's go get bag 14 and start building this thing up. So on bag 14 we started working on another dungeon, and this paint coral piece is really weird. But this is still pretty small, so let's move on to the next bag. Alright, so we finished another bag, and I gotta say that I love this staircase. Whenever LEGO uses these pieces it looks super good, but it looks like we're starting to build our way out of the dungeon, so let's keep going. So bag 16 is done, and it looks really cool. I really like all 3 of these skeletons, but this one is my favorite just because of his cape. At the door we also have this really cool booby trap, and a nice painting of the owners of the inn. But that's it for bag 17, and now we're building the displacer beast. So here we got the displacer beast, and so far that's been the smallest bag of the build. But he still looks pretty cool, and we're going to put him in the dungeon. So here it is, and I'd say this place looks pretty full. But now we're building this thing, so let's do it. And he turned out super well detailed. And as you can see from the picture, you can switch him out with the cat. And I think he looks pretty good in there. But now we're on to bag 19, and it's back to the castle. So we finished bag 19, and we made this really cool shrine thing. This thing looks awesome, and this is a really cool custom piece. But now it's time to move on to bag 20, so let's do it. So on bag 20 we added some walls, but not much else. But we do have another spider hiding under the staircase. But it's time for the next bag, so let's keep going. So with bag 21 we finished this first level, and I really like these stairs and the door. But now we're going to make this thing taller, so let's go get bag 22. So with that bag we added a bunch of details, and I can't tell if I like the yellow and pink, or the blue and orange. But either way they both look really cool, and this is turning out to be an awesome section. And you can see we're about 3/4 done with the book. So let's finish this last section, and then we can get to the dragon. Alright, so we finished bag 23, and I love all the little details we added. These plants around the outside look really good, and so do these windows. But now it's time for bag 24, and I think this is the last bag before the dragon. So we finished the last bit of the castle, and I think this looks great. I like how it looks really nice, but at the same time it looks like it's falling apart. And up top we have this room, which looks like it holds the egg of the dragon. But now that we got this done, let's add it on to the other sections of the build. Alright, so we got it all together, and here it is. This set just looks so awesome, and I love how green it is. I also really like how the cliff and castle overhang the house, and all of the details inside. I also really like all the creatures this set comes with. But speaking of creature, we still got one more to go. And you probably guessed it, but it's the dragon. And this thing just looks super impressive. But this is the last thing to do in the build, so let's finish it up. So we got everything off the table and the pieces ready. So let's open up this bag. So on bag 25 we just started the body. And I think this thing is going to be pretty big. But now it's time for bag 26, so let's keep going. So it looks like on bag 26 we just bulked them up. Plus I really like the curves and all of the colors they use. But now it's time for bag 27 and we're building the tail. So on that bag we finished the tail, and I think it looks super good. All the spikes make it a lot scarier, and it's also just pretty huge. But now let's do 28 and see how it goes. Alright, so on that bag we added these parts, and started the wings. But they're not done, so let's keep going. So we just finished the wings, and I think these look super good. When putting on all these little pieces it did get annoying, but it looks like we just gotta finish the head, so let's do it. So we finished another bag, and I totally forgot about the legs. But now we just got these front two, and then the head. Alright, so we finished the legs, and that means we only have one more bag to go. And now we're building the head, so let's finally finish it up. Alright, so we finished up the dragon, and here it is. This thing ended up being super cool, and I'm honestly really impressed with the build. All the colors just work so well, and the scale is really incredible. But now that it's done, I think the last thing to do is get it to the castle. Alright, so we got the dragon on, and I think this makes the set look so much cooler. I thought it was already cool before, but the size of this thing is just crazy. But I'm super excited to review this thing, so let's move the desk back and get it started. Alright, so we moved the desk, and here it is. But now it's time for the review, so let's get it started. The first thing I gotta say is that I love this set. This has easily been one of the most fun builds I've done in a really long time, and looking at it done is just so cool too. But starting off, even though it's the last thing we built, I want to talk about the dragon. This thing turned out to be super big, and I was not expecting this size. Putting it next to a minifigure, it just looks huge, and it got a whole book to itself. Also, I love all the different shades of red and orange that they used, and the details on it are just super good. And the only problem I had with the dragon was trying to get it placed on the build. For some reason I just couldn't get it to stay, and it still doesn't look like how it did on the box. But honestly that's fine with me, because this looks good too. But next up from that, let's talk about the castle. Even though it's not as big as some other ones like the Lion Knight's castle, I still think it looks really impressive. I love how it looks like it's old and falling apart, and it just has so many hidden secrets inside too. And speaking of the cool things inside, let's check them out. My favorite details are probably the dragon egg, the bar in the inn, or the sign for the in plain sight. And those are just my favorite, but there's really so many more. And the last section in this build that I really like is the dungeon. They did a really good job of making it look spooky and dangerous, and I love the spiral staircase too. And one more thing I really like is the tentacles coming out of the side. But that's enough for the build, so now let's talk about the minifigures. Overall I really like them all, but I think my favorite is this one. His face is just super weird, and I think he's the main villain of the set. Another cool feature is that each minifigure comes with 2 heads, so you can make each one more masculine or feminine. Plus I gotta say, they got some really cool weapons. But now we pretty much talked about everything. All we have left is the monsters. And I think they're all really good, and LEGO did an awesome job designing all of them. But if I had to pick a favorite, it would definitely be the Beholder. This guy is just super creepy, and I love all the custom pieces they used. But I'd also give an honorable mention to the gelatinous cube, because that one's really cool too. But if we're being honest, there's not much about this set that isn't cool. Except for maybe the back orders, or the gift with purchase being sold out super fast. But overall, I think I have to give this set a 9.5 out of 10. It really is just so great, and it's hard for me to find complaints about it. But that's it for the new LEGO Dungeons & Dragons set speed builder review, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'm still a pretty small YouTuber, so any support goes a long way. Also, if you want to check out New World after this video, I'll leave the link in the comments below. And with that, I think that's all for me, so QBricks out.